you need a QB, I don't think there's anyone better out there than Tua right now. 18% rostered, 3 to 4% of your fab because this quarterback is such a pretty deep position. Still, 329 yards, 2 scores in his first game back. What I love to see is 2 things. 1, 47 total pass attempts. I mean, no restrictions, clearly, for this guy coming off the IR. More importantly, though, 37 of these passes came in a neutral game script when they were either up or tied. So they were just airing this thing out for Tua. 6 of them also went downfield of over 20 or more yards. And now he gets Atlanta, the 3rd most points allowed to QBs, the worst defense in creating pressure, 34% pressure rate right now. He got 3.5 carries in his 2 full starts for Tua. A little bit of Konami juice, not a lot, but something. I think he is among the best streams within my top 10 quarterbacks, above Tannehill, above multiple guys this week facing Atlanta. And if you're desperate for a QB streamer, there's nowhere else I'd rather look than Tua. We also have that Jaret Patterson guy we talked about. If we already covered him, but if Collins, Herbert, I think this could be that version of that. He's facing the same defense Herbert ran wild against with Green Bay. Should we see Antonio Gibson miss this time? And imagine, we wouldn't be shocked at all if Gibson goes on the IR in a lost season, let the guy get 3 games. Well, Patterson would become, if that happens, if Gibson went to the IR, I'd say Patterson would be the number 2 pickup this week, right behind his only backfield mate, J.D. McKissic. So definitely a guy I'm looking to stash if I have the space to see how this situation unfolds. Could see him having a big week against Green Bay and a week where we're desperate for streamers. That could be a nice play. Khalil Herbert was last week's. Jameis Winston, if you miss out on Tua and he was dropped given the bye week woes of last week, I think Winston's the next guy up in my quarterback rankings as a streamer. Season high, as we mentioned when we talked about Callaway, 30 pass attempts last week, pass play rate at 61%, neutral game script. Definitely encouraging signs for him. And then Taysom Hill, pending availability off those concussions. Very intriguing. We just saw a monster game, 279 yards and 4 touchdowns for Winston as a team kind of takes off the shackles, lets him air it out. Seems like we have Sean Payton ready to have some fun this year. Now that he's let Winston so slow training wheels to begin the year, but very, very steady moving forward. The last guy on my list is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was the 15th guy last week, and he's still here. Now, last year he was at 3% roster. Now he's at 22%. Still, though, 7 targets or more in 3 straight weeks. Granted, the first 2 weeks were 13 or more points. Last week, just 5 catches for 26 yards, but heavily involved. That's in PPR leagues, fairly usable. And Jared Goff did mention we want him more involved. He's done a great job, said Goff. Our job is to get him more involved. He's a guy that doesn't look like a rookie as a rookie. He stepped up. He's a guy that 4 or 5 years from now, I expect to be in the top of the league from guys in the slot or even outside that makes plays and see those things you'd love to do. You compared him to Cooper Kupp in the preseason. We're seeing what Kupp is doing. So some decent stat lines these past few weeks. This last week, he had 26 yards on 7 catches, only 5.2 yards per reception. Pretty disappointing, but the volume is what you want to chase, what you want to see here. And he's getting that in bundles for a team that's going to constantly be playing from behind. Just to mention a couple stashes, saw Trey Lance get dropped in a ton of leagues. It makes sense. Bye week woes. The guy's probably not going to be the starter, at least for the next few weeks coming out of the bye. You imagine that's going to be Garoppolo's practicing, and Trey Lance isn't even practicing. He's not healthy. Still think if you have the space, one of the most elite stashes you could possibly have. That playoff schedule, I'm going to keep reiterating it. Tennessee, Atlanta, Cincy the week before that. Just a joke. Houston, week 16. Lance is going to run all over these guys. He had the 3rd most yards among a quarterback rushing already this year in his first start. He was looking at a 20-point day. If he could have just punched in that 1 goal line plunge, would have been a top 10 quarterback had he done that. Was still the quarterback 15 and a pretty abysmal performance. That's what we're looking at with this guy. It's silent like Jalen Hurts has been all year. Doesn't look great and still gets you some quality fantasy stats. So make sure to check your waiver wire. Well worth the stash if he's out there, as is Michael Gallup. They have the bye this week, the Cowboys do. You can stash him in your IR if you have those spots. I've seen him dropped in a ton of leagues, and I could get why. I mean, when he comes back, he's going to be behind CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. Now Dalton Schultz has emerged. And then you also have Zeke Elliott and Pollard commanding big target shares. So going to be a low-volume role, but all it takes is one injury to these guys for Michael Gallup to have a key role in one of the fastest-paced offenses in the league, one of the pass-happiest attacks, but the 2nd most pass yards per game right now. Michael Gallup, well worth it. Just any piece of an explosive offense like that is worth rostering, especially when they have quite that talent level of Michael Gallup, who's going to be among the best wide receiver free agents coming up this year.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.